right, welcome to Primos for Life, the wrestling podcast made for the fans, by the fans. Como siempre, yo soy Eddie, el niño Baque. We got Ariel, el sueño ecuatoriano, Bisueta. And we are your self-proclaimed, undisputed co-host tag team champions of the world. And in tonight's episode, we jump into another wrestling recap. We go over Monday Night Raw in Brussels from March 17th, and then we touch on NXT, AEW, and TNA, ending with SmackDown. So, como siempre, sit back, grab a snack, and let's get it on. Well, Primo. How are you?
Good, Primo. How are you? Very official today, huh? Quite all business, huh?
Yeah, well, we got to stand on business, man. You know, like the people are asking, they're like, I wonder what's going to happen next. Who's going to be there to recap the week for us? You know what I mean? We got a job to do, bro.
I mean, do they really need to ask is the question. I think hopefully we put it out there that if you need a recap, even though, you know, we said that wasn't the plot. we can give you a recap. But it's good to talk to you as always, man. Looking forward to it. Another very solid week and a good build to Mania. Of course, AEW I wasn't so high on, or not high on, like I wasn't able to really check out, so I'm gonna have to defer to you in this conversation here. But I'm looking forward to talking about all things WWE and catching up on the week. Get everyone set up for what starts on Monday night at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? In the spirit of, dedicating a little bit more time to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, let's clump those towards the end and just, really just hit the highlights of NXT, Dynamite, and TNA. Because it's very
fantastic
based on my notes.
Great. Sounds like a great idea. I'm all ears, my man. Let's roll.
There we go. So NXT, pretty solid episode. There's a build up for Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Obafemi, of course. Duh.
Oh, yeah.
And they're setting up for their triple threat match. And pretty standard episode, just a lot of unresolved conflicts or new rivalry started. The only other call out that I want to make, Stephanie Vacar has had two challengers go after her titles, and we got Miss Jada Parker, and we have another female superstar, which I forgot her name as well. Man, I really fast forward through NXT.
Yeah, apparently NXT is really not like. But I mean, like, because we said but it's also like we said before. You know, we're saturated with wrestling. There's a lot. It's like it's truly a lot to go through. So to take it all in.
But all I know is that she has a double match next Tuesday where she'll be fighting two title matches back to back. So that's really what's gonna happen next week.
Let's see how much they protect her in terms of, you know, if she wins both of those or if she loses one or, you know, what have you, or maybe she loses both. I mean, that would be absolutely terrible, but let's see how they protect her and how Shawn Michaels decides to book this.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna, because she just got them, a week ago. I feel like it's just a way to solidify her dominance and her presence and what she brings to the table. So it wouldn't make sense for her to lose one of the matches or even both. Right. But in the interest of, letting loose the North American women's title, maybe this is the way to do it. She loses one, but she retains the more important championship belt, for the remainder of the Mania season.
But we'll see how they protect her moving forward, at least after this particular one, and then kind of what happens.
Yeah,
okay.
So that was pretty much it. Everything else was pretty much standard. Good overall episode. Nothing to, say that you missed.
So I have a question to you that I want to pick your brain on, because you do, watch NXT, and I've been following a little more recently and everything. Is when do you think the call up for Trick Williams happens?
Probably after Stand and
Deliver. It's the Raw after Mania?
Yeah, because that's their Mania, right? Like Stand and Deliver is theirs. So I'm pretty sure whoever ends up losing that night are the people that are gonna be called up that Monday or that um, you know, that Friday. But here's the other thing that you also have to remember, right? I mean, with Ray Phoenix in the horizon, with rumors of Aleister Black coming back,
Mm-hmm.
who knows if anybody from NXT would come up so soon? You know what I mean? Because now you're going to have an influx of talent coming in after the WrestleMania season.
Right, right. But I mean, we'll get to some of the comebackers when we get into Raw a little bit later, because there's something I wanted to touch about those guys that you mentioned. So yeah,
Yeah.
so okay, all right. So yeah, I mean that sounds about right. All right, I just wanted to pick your brain because I'm waiting for Trick to get called up for a minute. I'm like, all right, because he was beefing him last good, like when he took the belt off of Carmelo Hayes. Hayes been up for a little bit now. Hayes has
Yeah.
had a couple good series and rivalries and stuff. So I figured it just would happen by now. I figured I'd pick your brain and ask because you pay a little more attention to NXT than I do.
Well, clearly not as much if I'm forgetting people's names.
Well, that just means there's just a lot going on in that dome, my man. That's all it is. It's
so
just,
much.
you
Appreciate
can
it.
only
Thank
hold
you.
but so much information before, like, that's why I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, you can't give me anything new because then I'm gonna like forget how to tie my shoes, and then that's out forever. So let's not do that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. Okay, Dynamite, really quickly, or three things that I picked up from Dynamite that wasn't there before, and I had to go to a previous episode from last month to see if like maybe I missed it, and they've always done this, but no, they just started doing this.
Okay.
So Mercedes Moné had a title match, and in the beginning of the match, right? This wasn't the opening segment or nothing. This is just me pointing this out. I noticed that both Mercedes and her opponent got into the ring. They did like a WWE kind of announcement, like, and the challenger is from what's or whatever,
Really?
weighing in at this thing, opponent, and from whatever California, Mercedes, and I was like, huh. So now they're kind of doing that format of like introducing the challengers and the champion right before the match.
That's
Yeah, like because we see it on Raw and SmackDown and on
right.
PLEs.
Right.
But I went back a month earlier to see because she also had another title match. They didn't do that. They got in the ring and the bell rang and they started scrapping. So I
Really?
was like, huh, this is new. This is nice. Kind of, not really, but all right.
I never. Oh, I guess I never really paid attention. So sounds like that could be totally accurate. I just haven't seen it or heard it before. But I mean, hey, if you're calling it out, then I'm gonna trust your knowledge on this particular situation.
Yeah. But overall, a bunch of good matches. The opening match was pretty good. I like their new guy that just appeared last week. His name is Speedball. He's like this Canadian, like black belt jiu-jitsu karate dude, and they had a four-way battle for the number one contendership to go against Kenny Omega. Ricochet was in the match. Orange Cassidy was in the match, and ultimately, what it came down to was there was like a double pin or a double ending. So Speedball and Ricochet end up qualifying to go against Kenny Omega, and now it's like a triple threat. So
Gonna be one hell of a match.
Yeah, it was pretty
Ricochet,
solid.
Omega, and then I'll take a look at this guy Speedball. I want to say I've heard something about him before, or seen some kind of something on him before, but
I'm sure you have. Yeah, no, but it's pretty entertaining to watch. So that's another shout out from that. Really cool. Hurt Syndicate promo didn't come out, but really solidifying their dominance, even if they're not on site. So that's pretty cool. And then the final thing that really got me feeling some type of way, which is probably going to be another episode that we're going to talk about. Really.
And here we go again with AEW annoys Eddie because
that should be the theme song.
Old
right?
people just won't move out
no.
the way.
So it's not so much legends this time. In the middle of the Dynamite, there was a match between Moxley and Adam Copeland, and it was a street fight. And it starts off really standard, weapons, this and that. And for the last, I don't know, like maybe since this rivalry has started, Adam Copeland has been walking around with this like, it looks like a cricket bat or something with like a bunch of like rusty nails just like spikes just out, sticking out.
coming through it, like the old school bats for like when like the movie The Warriors, when they'd come out in the
Right.
bat, and they had the spikes going right through, and they ding ding, yeah, come out and play, yeah.
He's been carrying around that thing, and they've hit him, they've hit each other with it, but they've always hit each other with like the wooden side of it.
Right.
So in this match, I don't know what, like I don't know whose idea this was, but Adam Copeland whacks that bat spike side on Moxley's back, and it was wild. And I was like, oh, please let that be it. And then he drops it on the floor, spikes up on the mat, spikes up, and grabs Moxley, and Adam Copeland does a suplex right onto it. And Moxley reacts. I mean, he would react, right? He reacts so quickly that as he gets up, it is on his back. It is lodged into his back, bro. And all I'm going to say for now, so we could have a conversation about it later, is wow, ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean that doesn't sound. I mean, like there's levels, right? And I mean, there's things we haven't seen before, and there's certain things that are breakaway or giveaway or whatever. You're talking about a bat with nails. Trying to figure out the way that there's any kind of give there or anything that's not, to make this at least reasonably kind of safe for the wrestlers involved. So yeah, that sounds really. I kind of tempted to go back and take a look now. Like to see exactly what it is, but really kind of not, because you said it, and I'm like, you know what?
Well,
I don't think I need to see all this. No, I don't think it's absolutely necessary. And yeah, so okay, story or conversation bookshelf for another time. But all right, I got you. Seems a bit excessive, but all right, let's roll on.
Let's roll on. And then that's pretty much it. FTR, Willow comes in to save the day because the Rough Riders come out to defend Moxley. And then the rest of the night goes on. Nothing eventful. Same thing with Collision, just a couple of matches with Adam Cole and Garcia. Just, nothing too crazy. Overall, except for that.
Spikes.
Yes.
Spike side. Oh.
And and then they actually set up the Tony Storm beef with Megan Bain, which is like this giant, like Indian looking, 7 foot tall woman that they set up their fight for, I believe
like the female Great Khali.
Not that big, but she's pretty tall.
No, but I mean, there's very few men who are as big as Khali, let alone women. So I'm just saying in terms of bringing in like a giant, like
fair enough. No, that's good. And that's
dude, she's that big.
But overall, decent episode of Dynamite. Nothing crazy. Same thing. Obviously, I keep saying nothing crazy, but there was crazy. And then there's TNA. TNA, obviously, this is the aftermath after Sacrifice, their event from last week. The only real thing of importance was Santana and Mustafa ran it back. But on this episode of TNA, he started off the match. Santana came out hot and ready to roll, and ripped this guy's head off. And then halfway through the match, he just like runs away. And, the interviewer was like, hey, why are you running away? And he's like, I don't run away. I already proved myself at Sacrifice. I don't need to do this again. And he just bolts. So there was that. And then we find out why Nick Nemeth and his brother turned on Matt Hardy. And the reason, and I think this is a pretty solid argument, right? The reason why they turned on them was because Nick Nemeth is stating that he's the reason why TNA started getting hot again when he came over. Nobody cared until he came over. And then now that he became hot again, people like, the Hardys decide to come back and try to steal the spotlight. And that's why him and his brother are going to go against the Hardy Boys to try to get those tag titles. So good like story, for the next event.
I dig the storyline because it's incredibly unbelievable to sit there and go, yes, TNA was nothing until the return of Dolph Ziggler, not the return, the appearance of Dolph Ziggler. Like I got it, but great heel stuff. Great heel writing there in terms of like, I'm believing this in myself, and it's going to annoy people if I do. So great, great, because once again, you can tell that that's not the case at all. As because if anybody as of recently is to be given credit for a rise in TNA. It's the one and only Joe Hendry. So
Yes.
that's that's why I think that's a solid promo by Nemeth in terms of like building the heel character, and this is why we did it, and I'm angry and just like I like that. So good stuff. All right,
Yeah.
TNA. All right, good, cool. All right.
Yeah, for sure. No problem with their product. It's you know, it's looking pretty solid. It's a nice watch, right? If you just,
Great.
if you want
Love
to
an
just
easy
switch it
watch.
up. Yeah, exactly. And then that's pretty much it. That covers, non WWE wrestling for the most part.
Non WWE wrestling. I'm just gonna do theme songs for everything that we do from now on. And then at some point, you're just gonna end up editing him and just really like using him as a drop.
um yeah, so let's jump back into Monday Night Raw. Go ahead, Ariel. Tell us
Monday
after the
Night Raw.
John Cena
So
promo, where
I
do
was
we go
about to
from
say.
there?
So we're gonna go with everything post John Cena promo. Which for any of our listeners out there who have not gone back and listened to it, please feel free to go back and listen to it. I think it was actually a very, very fun listen. It was just a quick hit. It was the Lucha Hot Tag, and if you haven't gone, please go listen to us because we could do a good 15, 20 minutes. Actually, it was like 25, something like that we did on it. But so everything is post that. We start with Penta versus Ludwig Kaiser, and these two have been in each other's crosshairs for quite some time now, along with Pete Dunne. So they finally get their hands on one another. Great match. I'm not a big Ludwig Kaiser guy, but he puts on a solid match. Penta, of course, I love Penta. I'm gonna get online and order my Penta shirt because I have a AEW Penta shirt, but I don't have a WWE one yet. So great match, solid, fantastic. Penta with a win there, and then as Penta is coming down the ramp, he stops to do an interview and then lets everyone know that he now has his sights set and will be focusing on the Intercontinental Championship, saying, that because they were, I forget exactly where they were, but on a different continent. So he said, on this continent, on that continent. So now I want to be intercontinental. Like he didn't say it as such because he messed up a word or two there, but English is not his first language. But so fantastic. I thought it was a great match. I like the solid build to put him in a feud now to get to that IC championship because we want to see what they did with Penta as he came in hot and everywhere he's gone, the fans have been behind him. So I was impressed and I enjoyed this match personally. What about you, brother?
Yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. Penta is incredible. And I do like Ludwig. I think he does a really good job as playing the heel. And he's very convincing, you know what I mean? And especially kind of like how Gunther did in Barcelona. I like that Ludwig plays to that European card factor. It's like, yeah, we're in Brussels, but I'm still superior, regardless of
Right.
whatever part of Europe you're from. I
Yeah, he's
believe.
walking down with his hands behind his back and all
Right.
that fun stuff.
So definitely cool. He's very good at what he does. So I was a fan, and I do like that they gave Penta some time to declare for the Intercontinental Championship. Um, so I just wonder what that's going to play out like because again, we are getting closer and closer to WrestleMania now. So I have no idea what the IC picture is looking like now because if um I think I read something saying that they're gonna do this on Monday, right? So I don't
They're going
know.
to do Penta vs. Braun on Monday.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, that's what I
Oh
heard.
man,
I don't know if that's
that's
been confirmed or not.
I mean I see because I want to say something like they mentioned something like that on one of the shows or something. I forget. So I feel like I agree. I heard that along with you, but I feel like that's kind of a quick turnaround. You have the ability to build something here using
Yeah,
your quote unquote mid card title, but a prestigious title at that. I mean, we're talking about the Intercontinental Championship, so I think I'd like to see a build here. I'd like to see a feud with Penta and who would be the winner of Finn Balor and Braun Breaker later on in the evening. So we'll see. So, but I agree with you. I like that they're giving the IC belt the chance to run for the IC belt.
Yeah, so it should be good. Should be good no matter which way it goes, whether it gets defended this upcoming Monday or they push it towards Mania, or maybe they take this opportunity on Monday to build it into something bigger, and instead of just them it being them two, it could be
Right.
fatal 4-way. Like maybe
Some kind of interference, some kind of
right.
something. Right.
Build up to like a ladder match, something crazy that they could all really
Yeah.
showcase their
There's a
abilities.
disqualification, but with use of a ladder and bang. Do you want to use a ladder? Let's use a ladder. Yes. You know what? Perfect call. Actually,
Yeah.
very solid.
Yeah. And then I believe the next match was Dakota Kai, right? And then
Dakota Guy, Ivy Nile. Yeah.
So yeah, Dakota Kai gets that win. Then after that, their match happens, and then the Creed brothers and LWO, was that a disqualification, or that ended up being?
Well, no. Next we had Jey Uso versus Austin Theory.
Oh, that's right. Yes, and
Was
that
next.
was really
Jey Uso versus Austin Theory was next. In which now remember last week Jey Uso took on Grayson Waller. So this is another shot for A-Town Down Under. Solid match. I'm starting to, Theory's not bad. I didn't like him as much as Vince McMahon liked him. Or and gave him the push and gave him the money in the bank and everything along those lines. But he's solid. So good match. Little interference here as the world champion Gunther came out and tried to choke out Jey Uso again, but this time it was not to happen as Jey Uso yeeted himself into a position where he was kind of working Gunther over a little bit and making Gunther look a little intimidated, So good segment, good match. Like I said, good. It's a fun angle where now Gunther just decides he wants to come out and just keep messing with Jay every chance he gets. So now it's good to see Jay defend himself and actually come out on top on this side. So overall, not bad. Can't complain. Solid.
Are we just gonna glaze over the fact that he really messed up that jump outside of the ring and he hit the apron?
Well, I know that you were itching to bring it up, so that's why I figured I would kind of let you go in with it and be like, okay, one thing I've noticed, which is okay now. So please explain the spot to the listeners who haven't. There was a spot that was obviously sloppy. For anybody who watches wrestling for any kind of thing, even my wife who does not like wrestling, if she would have seen the spot, she'd be like, "Ooh, that didn't look good. Like that messed up a lot." So Eddie, if you'd be so kind as to go over the spot for anyone who hasn't seen exactly what happened.
Yeah, well, there was a spot where Theory's outside of the ring, or Grayson Waller, right? They're outside. Jay seizes an opportunity to, run out and do a suicide dive, or actually over the rope dive. And as he does that, I guess he gets caught into the rope and he ends up hitting the apron first and then hits them. But it was really, really bad.
Very awkward. Very awkward.
Yeah. Which, I mean, from a fan perspective, I mean, it did look rough. Obviously, we have tremendous love and respect for all talent that is able to do the things that we wish we could do. So no, we're not throwing shade or we're not mad at Jay. We hope he's okay. We hope that he'll continue onto his road to WrestleMania. But from stepping back into a fan perspective, I feel like all these run-ins between him and Gunther, for me, I feel like it's kind of like maybe watering down their beef, so to speak, because you got to remember, Royal Rumble winner is the main event at WrestleMania.
Right.
And I don't feel like this will be the last match of any night.
No, because it's not going to be.
Right.
It absolutely will not be, and it doesn't need to be. This doesn't need to be the last match at all. This is no matter what you could put this match. Unfortunately, with the card that you're going in with, there's no way you could possibly do it, and it's just going to be a solid match. But I mean, I think you have to look at the players in the game. Yes, it is for the World Championship, but look at the names in your other championship match. Look at the names in what will be the triple threat match that will be announced, that we'll be talking about later on. I mean, there's There's plenty. So this is not going to be. So it's not meant to be. This is the Kofi Kingston, the Daniel Bryan. They're like, yeah, it's going to happen, but it's not going to main event anything. So they have to be able to keep the storyline going, and like I said, to have Gunther come out and try and do it again, and now Jey Uso defended himself and got out on top. You're like, okay, little variation to what it is, still believable, but yeah, we can't. I think expecting it to be anything more than that is just it's not going to happen. They have way too much other stuff to offer us, so that's why I'm just like, you know what, I'll take this for what it is. Two very good superstars who are over very, very well, but you're talking about two guys who probably don't crack the top 5 each in their own program. As good as they both are. You know, they're not Reigns. They're not Punk. They're not Orton. They're not Rollins. They're not, you know, I'm trying to think who else. I mean, Mysterio. I mean, shit. I mean, if you go back to some of your legends that can still carry, you know, some stuff. So, I think it's just, like I said, quick work. They need a way to keep this build going to Mania.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and you're right. I think the disheartening part for me as a fan is that you know, I feel like the Jay wave is kind of like dying down. Yes, he's over. Yes, people love to be part of his entrance and things like that, but then once the match gets started, you're just like, oh wait, we're doing this, huh? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, we're
But
wrestling. Oh yeah, there's that.
yeah. So, but I mean, hey, but who knows? We still have a few more weeks. Maybe they'll turn it
Right.
around. Maybe something incredible will happen that it'll get me, you know, hyped for the match. You know what I mean? I mean,
They'll get
ultimately,
you back on the
yeah,
bandwagon.
right. But at the end of the day, I mean, I still want Gunther to win. I mean, the way that they're building Jay is like, I would be happy to be wrong. You get what I'm saying? But I still want
I
Gunther
mean,
to win.
I'm happy to be wrong, definitely, and I actually think in this case you might actually be wrong. I think this might be the time that they put it on Jey Uso, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Triple H is not averse to doing a swerve and, you know, pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. Then now we have the Creeds versus the LWO. So they were in there fighting, solid match. You know, the Creeds now are bad guys, and then at the end of the match, we get one of our most favorite things ever on this podcast, the run-in.
Yeah.
So the run-in comes in, and I think they call him El Grande Americano, I want to say is what they're calling this guy. And I want to check my note. Yep, Grande Americano is what this dude is called. And this is the Chad Gable. Everyone, what Kathy Kelly had told and everyone had assumed last week was Chad Gable in a luchador mask. So which was fun to see. And it's, you know, so now it seems like it's just too easy to be Gable. So I think kind of the other easy one to walk into is one that you mentioned before in terms of Rey Fenix.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, maybe trying to mess with Gable and then, you know, kind of work his way in because he's coming over soon. And, you know, Penta's already here. And I think they're going to try and do Penta, you know, with the IC championship picture and stuff like that. They, you know, maybe Fenix becomes, you know, maybe a speed guy or, you know, maybe he, you know, becomes NXT champ. You know, you never know. I'd like to see something like that. That would actually be pretty cool for me. But yeah, so El Grande Americano came in and interfered into everything. But LWO, if I recall correctly, won, but it all was marred by Grande Americano.
Yeah. Yeah, no, pretty cool segment. I like Chad Gable more and more. I feel like the more he's grown as a character, with American Made, he started off being a jerk. I mean, he's still a jerk. He plays a jerk. But then having his run in with Wide Six, and then now ultimately starting this beef with luchadors, I think it's all working pretty well for him. So I hope we get to continue seeing him, you know, develop this Gran Americano character.
Yeah. Solid. Then the final match of the night, right?
See.
Final match of the night. Well, there was a segment of AJ Styles and Karrion Kross backstage. Karrion Kross trying to push buttons about Logan Paul. And then he's like, "You're not going to push my buttons." And then he makes the puppeteer thing at the end and stuff. And then we get to the championship match, Intercontinental Championship. Well, I will let you kick off and roll with.
Well, before we do that, because you touched on something really good with Karrion Kross, I really hope that the payoff with that really is something spectacular, because they've been building that like little by little for like the last couple
the payoff
months.
in terms of what, the Logan Paul AJ Styles storyline, or the Karrion Kross being a puppet master?
Yeah, that like the Karrion Kross being a puppet master, because it's been like for months he's just been
Well,
doing
yeah,
it to
because he's been
everyone.
doing it to people like trying to do it with Xavier in the New Day, and I forget who else he
Miz.
was. Miz, right? But it's the AOP is gone, and so is Paul Ellering. So he lost the final testament. So I know that Hunter is a Karrion Kross guy. So yes, interested to see how that works out. I would like to see it come up to something for him, because I feel like, hopefully he can get a little traction going, because I'm not mad at Karrion Kross as long as they don't over push him. I think he's fine. He's a good IC belt kind of guy.
Yeah, I can see that. But speaking of IC belts, then the final match of the night is Braun Breaker versus Finn Balor. Which is funny, because going back to segments, there was a Judgment Day segment where Dominic brought up bringing in a potential new member, and that it should be Penta, but Finn got offended, because he was like, "Well, you're gonna bring in the guy that's gonna go for my IC title belt," and and he was like, "Oh, well, I didn't know he was gonna get it," and then Carlito comes in with the, "You don't watch the show, do you?" So,
Which is good. Which is good. So
yeah.
that was fun.
So Carlito's definitely rocking it as that comic relief, the way that Truth was when he was in the Judgment Day,
Right.
or
Right.
quote
Right.
unquote
Right.
not in the Judgment Day, but
Right. He was always in the Judgment Day.
yeah,
True.
to me, with Tom and Nick Mysterio,
Tom and Nick. That's right. There's 3 extra members there. You gotta remember.
But overall, the match was fantastic. I mean, Braun Breaker to me is such a he's proven himself more and more each time, and then to go in there with someone like Finn Balor, who's also spectacular, probably one of the most underutilized folks on the roster.
Yeah, I mean he's great. Remember, he was the first
Universal,
was it Universal champion, right? And if
red belt.
this guy didn't buckle bomb him and destroy his tricep, who knows?
Yeah, and it's kind of sad to see. Now you got me all sad, because like that's with the time when like he got it for the first time, Kevin Owens got it for the first time. Like a few people only got a few runs with those titles, and then everyone else started going with the long term, um, reigns and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to get at is that early on at that point in time should have been where multiple people should have been champions, like a Kevin Owens, like a Finn Balor, like an Andrade, like a Rusev, all that stuff. But that's
Right.
neither here nor there. Going back to this match, again, fantastic. Dominic tries to help, and ultimately ends up costing Finn the match by Finn's on the turnbuckle, and he falls and hurts his demons, and and then he falls
Demons.
and ends up losing the match. Yeah, you just caught it, huh? And then that's it. Ends up losing. So now it's back to Braun. And didn't Penta come back out to like
And
go
then
face to face?
so what happened was Braun gets the win, and he's jumping around the ring, and he's hanging, holding his belt up and climbing the ropes, and then the Judgment Day comes back in full effect. Carlito pops up, little demons arise, and Dominic gets up, and they all start beating up on Braun Breaker. Cue the run-in from Penta to help clear the ring.
Right.
And then we have Penta, if I recall correctly, picking up the IC belt, looking at it, and then I think like handing it to Breaker, or like putting it in his chest. This was about a week ago that I watched this episode. So, so it was good. But then once again, great there, because now you're solidifying Breaker and Penta. Like I said, hopefully they don't rush this. We should probably look to see if there's any kind of Raw preview coming up, anything like that. But no, I think it was a good match. It was a good way to end the match. It was a good way to start selling the demise of what appears to be the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Because it's something that has to happen. I think we've had a run with it. It stinks because I like these guys. I had mad respect for JD McDonough taking the shot he did to injure him. I like Carlito. I like Balor. Tom and Nick has grown on me. So yeah. But like I said, setting up for the IC belt. We'll see if they go to Mania with it or not, or if they just do it quick this week.
Did you know that JD punctured a lung doing that move?
Yeah, crack was it like he cracked the rib and it like punched it right through. Like yeah, that's why the fact that he finished the match is beyond. Like can't even. So, shout outs to JD McDonough.
Yeah, for real. Irish Ace, for real. Yeah, and then we hop on over to Friday, which is SmackDown in Bologna, Italia. Right?
SmackDown. Yeah,
SmackDown.
Italian Chef Boyardee. Wait, what? Oh,
Wow.
Italian. that's not real Italian cooking?
Yeah, that's not what.
That's not? I thought that was homemade. I thought
Yeah.
like Chef Boyardee. What?
It says an original Italian recipe. Yeah, that's what it says.
Bro, you just killed my childhood, bro.
Don't
took it away.
Don't let CJ and Nikki hear that.
What are you talking about? If I let them hear that, they'll offer to cook me some proper food. I'll get fed well. What are you talking about?
Yeah, for real.
Shout outs to the guys.
Yeah, for real. Shout outs to them. And then we opened up with the tag match, right? Damien and Big Jim.
No, we opened with Randy Orton with the voices.
Right. Oh,
I hear voices in my head. They something. They understand. They talk to me. Yeah, so he comes out and he's all I'm annoyed and whatever.
The voices are back.
Voices are back. Kevin Owens, you did something. You unlocked the voices. I'm glad you did it. Kevin Owens came out. And he was like, "Listen, Randy, you didn't deserve what I did to you. That package, you didn't deserve that. Cody Rhodes, he deserved what I deserved. Sami Zayn, he deserved what I did to him. You didn't deserve what I did to you. So I'm sorry. And if you can forgive me, I can forgive you for being cool with Cody and Reigns, and we can get past it." And then he was like, "So I'm just put that out there." And Randy was like, "Let me think about this." He thought about it for like all of not even a second. He was like, "Yeah, no, don't work for me." And then he points up to Mania. And it looks like we're going to have our Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens at Mania. And I think that's going to be a hell of a match. And I'm pulling for my man, Randy. And it should be a great match. But good promo. And, good for Owens to come in. And they were going after each other a little bit. They got into kerfuffle. And, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, no, you're right. Really good segment. I'm with you. Obviously, we want Randy to win, after what he did to Sammy, and it's just always good to see Randy get crazy.
I mean, it's funny because announcers will say something like it and I'll be like, this is just cheesy and you guys stink and it's stupid, but then it's right. It's like wrestling's better when Randy Orton's around. Like wrestling is better. Like I appreciate wrestling more with Randy Orton around. I'm like, okay, yeah.
And then now we jump into the tag match: Damien, Big Jim versus Drew, Shinsuke. Pretty solid match. Some great spots on everybody. Yeah. Everybody did some hard hitting hits, which was really awesome in this match.
Yep.
Damien was selling really well.
Yeah.
Big Jim did the jump that Jay did on Monday, but didn't hit the canvas.
His was clean.
His was clean. Yeah.
His was clean.
Really solid.
Yeah, he cleared it. Yeah. But I mean, this was a great way to use 4 of your superstars because you're across the pond or you're overseas. So these people don't get to see everyone live that often. So you want to try and get a couple matches in and you want to try and get as many superstars as you can in. I think this was a fantastic way to do it. And then I think it was fantastic the way everything ended because you start to set up again for McIntyre and Priest, and you see just how much hatred there is amongst both of them, and McIntyre just keeps beating Damien. And to your point before, Damien with some great sells on the Claymore, on like a couple things, like so fun match and great, like I said, great use of 4 superstars, way to build to Priest and McIntyre. This is going to be a fun match. I am so hoping Damian Priest wins. So hoping, but not sure. But no, I liked it.
Yeah, pretty solid match. And then I believe this was the Tiffany Charlotte segment right after, right?
Then we had the
The next to each other FaceTime camera
the
thing that they
FaceTime
did.
for whatever conversation, the
Yeah.
interview, what have you.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? After watching that, um, as much as I don't want Charlotte to win because I feel like it is Tiffy time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Charlotte roasted her in that interview, and to me made her look weak. I don't know if that was on purpose. I don't know if Tiffy got nervous or if she got
It
stuck.
it
But
did look like she looked a little lost at times in trying to keep up with Charlotte Flair.
yeah,
It did.
so that alone lets me like be okay with Charlotte winning. you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's no. It looked like she was just out of her league. So I agree with you there. It did look. I was just like, ooh, all right, no, okay. See what happens next.
Yeah, for real. Then we got the U.S. Championship number one contenders match. We had Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu.
I
Right
love you so low.
right before this match, we had LA Knight approach Braun, getting pumped for the match, and he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah," and then he was basically telling him, "Hey, he's going to keep an eye out on the match because, you know, um, you know, um, Jacob and the
The
bloodline,
bloodline.
yeah, they always interfere, so he's going to
They roll in
be there."
numbers. They roll deep.
Right. He'll keep an eye on the match. And Braun was like, well, cool, but if I win, I become number one contender. So that's when we all find out it's a contenders match.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right.
and then both come out, Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. Again, these guys could put on a show. They work really well together, as a big man and a bigger man, with their spots, with the hits, with the tackles, with the turnbuckles. Really, really good match. This time, it was a little bit more competitive than the first time that they met on Saturday night's main event, where it was just like a squash match. This was
Right.
like an actual match, and then
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, they're what's his name? Yeah, that dude,
Tamatonga.
Tamatonga,
Tamatonga,
comes
man.
out, interferes, and then Solo interferes, giving Braun Strowman the win, but indirectly, but directly, right? Who knows?
Hey.
Costing Jacob the match, and Jacob is furious. He's like, how he's ripping backstage apart. Like, what are you doing? He's like, we were there to help, and he's like, I don't need your help. And
Help who? Help you? Not helping me.
right. So
Yeah,
obviously, there's a
Fatu's.
buildup there.
Yeah. I dig it. I
Yeah.
dig it. I dig the dissension in the ranks there, and Fatu's going to be a beast. He's already a beast. I mean, I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. So I think this is to start the demise or to plant the seed in the we're going to have a problem with this faction moving forward. So good match, and I definitely like the outcome because I think LA Knight retains. If this happens at Mania, I think LA Knight retains just because I think he's a bigger draw, more popular than Braun Strowman is. But I think the Fatu angle was good, and that he lost it and didn't just like say, oh yeah, hey, thanks for helping out, guys, or whatever. Like like he was losing his mind. Like why, why'd you do this? Da, da, da. So great, yes, fantastic, fan of that one as well.
So overall, that was a pretty solid match. And then next we have, what was it? Piper versus Zelina.
Yeah, Chelsea Green's former head of Secret Service, Piper Niven, versus Selena Vega, who vowed to start going for I think it was the women's IC belt or something last week. There was a little vignette, a little package about her saying she wanted to look for a belt and she was coming for one.
It's about time, right? I mean, I feel like she's well overdue. She should have been champion.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I like Selena Vega. You're talking about a Queen of the Ring winner,
right.
So I think she's solid. I'd like to, unfortunately, she's in that Rey Mysterio book of, compared to the other female superstars, she's smaller. So that kind of can be a hindrance sometimes. But I agree with you. I'd like to see Selena get a little bit of push and see her get some traction going.
Yeah. But overall, the match was great. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how she worked with someone that's obviously bigger than her. The spots were great. Setting up for the 619, all that stuff that she ended up doing. I was not a fan of the interference, but obviously that was bound to happen. Part of me kind of wishes that even though the interference has happened after the final interference, she could have turned around and still got the win over Piper, but obviously that's not how it ended.
Yeah.
Piper ended up getting the win right at that point.
Yeah. So solid match. I mean, yeah, I guess you're putting over the Chelsea Green Secret Hervis crew because now you have Alba Fire who's coming out in the suit and everything and talking into Hervis like she's security and everything. So fine, get the bill going there. I agree with you. I don't like that Zelina took the loss here. I want to see her get something going, but building the female stable, right? So
Yeah.
you gotta break some eggs to make the omelet. So unfortunately, Zelina Vega is an egg in this situation, but hopefully bigger things and better things coming for her forward. Which is when I saw that vignette, that little promo, I'm like, okay, hopefully they can start doing something with her if one of these vignettes is here.
I agree. And then we jump into the Jade and Liv match that was set up in Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
We get that going.
So obviously Jade made it without getting thrown into any cars.
Yeah, apparently started off really good. Yeah, I get surprised on how much Jade has improved. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
she was still so green in AEW, and then
AEW.
even when she was here, when she first started here at WWE, it was still a little bit noticeable. But now I feel like she's really, gotten the reps in, and I feel like she looks believable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So very
Okay.
very solid match, majorly. But then we have another interference, which seems to be the flavor of the week. Another interference, this time by Naomi.
Yeah, I like
Really,
this. I like seeing this side
yeah,
of Naomi. I was like, yeah, girl, do the thing, get her, go.
yeah. I was kind of digging it too. I was digging the attack. I was digging the new caution tape outfit. I thought it was pretty cool. It
Yeah.
definitely gives her a new look, revamps her a little bit more. So, yeah, overall pretty solid, segment.
Yeah,
So to speak.
I agree with you. I don't think nothing really much I can add to that. It was, like I said, just a solid segment. Start prepping for everything moving on in the future. Give Naomi a chance to do it's the Jey Uso thing. It's like, all right, now she gets her chance to come back and do it. So great.
Yeah.
And then next we had final thing of the night. Well, not the final thing of the night. We had the
Final
it
match.
was an interview and then a tag match with our newly crowned tag team champions, the Street Profits, versus Legado de Fantasma. Oh, sorry, Fantasma. I love both of these teams a lot, so I'm very happy with this match. I love Montez Ford. I love Montez Ford, and I'm a big Santos Escobar guy. They need to get a feud for this guy going. They got to do something because he's great on the mic. He's solid, man. He sells a story. He's a great heel. So great match. Tez just as athletic as can be. Tez is one of the guys, the newer guys that are coming up, that aren't the Rollinses and the Reigns, whatever, that I'm looking forward to. Tez and Penta, like these are the guys I want to see start getting the pushes now and then moving forward, stuff like that. So, yeah, great match. I'm very athletic. Berto and Garza they're great there. So really fun. Yeah, great match.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like Street Profits look better and better. That little flip that Montez did off of the Garza and Umberto, it was like wild, where he just kind of like flipped and stood up. It was
Oh yeah, he like
very
landed.
crazy.
Yeah, he landed like a double flip or whatever. Yeah, that was crazy. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah, Montez is like really, really, really showing out. But
Yeah.
like you said, but that's credit to all teams. Like even Umberto and Garza, like they were major components of that. But I agree with you. Really good match.
Mhm.
Obviously, the Profits retain, and
Yep.
then there was a segment in the back of DIY trying to get Pretty Deadly to get on the same page on like, hey, we'll help you guys, lock in your title match and et cetera, et cetera. So
And then you give us a shot and blah blah blah.
Right, which I think ultimately leads to the giant tag match at WrestleMania at some point. So
Maybe a gauntlet match with Tez and with the champions being the last team in the gauntlet might be fun.
that'd be cool.
Maybe something like that. You know what they need to do? You know what they should do? You know what they need to do is during this elimination chambers, have an elimination chamber team match and then just tornado it and just have like 18 just 12 superstars in there just destroying one another.
Well, they did
Just
that one year with
just war game style, but like, well, I guess that's war games then.
Yeah. Well, no, like they did that with one elimination chamber PLE with where the New Day and the Usos were all in there. Like that was crazy tag match.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what they need to
I'd
do.
be down
More
for
stuff
that.
like this. But I think that would be fun for Mania, especially the way they're currently running with this tag division on SmackDown, more so than Raw, I guess. But it's fun, and there's a lot of good teams. Like a lot of good teams. So I think they need to come up with something, and I don't want to call it a gimmick match, but I think you just have something fun at Mania for the belts.
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree with that. They deserve that kind of special spotlight or treatment because they have been putting in tremendous work, and all teams are are entertaining, right? The Legado del Fantasma, Street Profits, DIY, Pretty Deadly, like they're all looking pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and what's it called? Machine Guns, right?
Oh, yeah,
Those
that's
guys,
right. What are some you can't forget about them? That's 5 solid tag teams right there.
right? So
Like that's
yeah,
really
I
good.
agree.
That's really good.
Agree. And then finally, the final segment of the night, we get
the I was right all along segment.
Right in what regards?
I called this triple threat match. The minutes Cena won, I'm like, well, this has to be a triple threat going into Mania. The next episode when we spoke about it, for any listener who doesn't believe me, because everyone's probably like, oh, Zach, he's just full of crap. Yes, usually I am, but I did call this one.
No, you did. And it worked out pretty well. I liked that they all confronted. I love that Punk was the one that, was initiated the attack. Like,
right.
After he was saying, like, and Paul, you technically owe me a favor and this and that, and thank you for serving me, your boy, on a silver platter. And Roman turns around and looks at him like, what? You did that, wise man? And then whack, like a stab in the back with the microphone, and then they start beating each other up. But then Seth had to take off his jacket and then jumps in.
And Punk called him Grimace because he was wearing the purple suit.
Yeah.
No, I was. For obviously we mentioned all 3 people, but for anyone who didn't get to watch and is just kind of getting the information, the final segment was CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and it became, as Eddie said, just all out war and just beating, and then once again, as per usual, the way Eddie and I love to have it, here comes Jason Jordan and Nick Aldis and everybody to stop the fighting.
Man, full of theme songs today.
We get what like I said, what I had mentioned before. We get our triple threat match because at one point, Eddie, I'm sure you noticed it because you are very perceptive when it comes to wrestling. At one point, each of the 3 of them pointed at the Mania sign.
See, yeah.
Each one of them took the time and like looked up, pointed like, oh yeah. So yeah, I like it. Great way to build it. I thought fantastic. Great. I'm like a good SmackDown. It has been a good SmackDown in a minute.
Yeah,
but I think once again, because of the fact that you are overseas, Hunter was willing to do some more stuff. Also had a lot more things to work with as he could set up for Mania. But good SmackDown. Great. And I thought that final segment was well done. I want to see what happens with Roman and the Wise Man. But yeah, I'm waiting with bated breath, man. Can't wait. Like I'm good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like the segment. My favorite part of the segment was right before it ends and the cameras cut out. You see Roman grab the stairs and knock Punk out and then knock Rollins out.
Oh, yeah, hits him with the steps.
Like a madman, and everybody's trying to like stop him. And then you see executive producer Paul Levesque. It just cuts out.
The credits come in. You're like, okay, well, this is done.
Yeah, so
but
pretty good,
man.
awesome week for wrestling. Really just calm the waters and again, nice build up to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I am still curious to see the final cards, but I do see that little by little we're trickling in with the official right now. As of now, we got Charlotte Tiffy, Jay Gunther, Cena, Cody. We got Randy KO, and we got the triple threat, which is
the triple
Roman.
threat, and we have we have the triple threat of Reigns, Rollins, and then we're not sure if we're getting the triple threat of Io, Bianca, and Rhea, but we know we're definitely getting Io and Bianca.
Oh, by the way, side note on that before we sign off, I am not happy with what they're doing with that. The fact that she hijacked the contract, Rhea,
and she wrote her name on it,
and write her name on it, and thankfully, I like that. All this is like no, that or Pierce. It was Pierce, right? Because it was on
Pierce.
Raw.
Yeah, Pierce is
Right.
Raw.
Adam Pierce is like, no, this isn't illegal. You know, this doesn't make you a part of the match, and it's like, but it's a legal document, and I have it, and I'm like, you know what? Final thought on this. Charlotte was right. You know, like she's still immature, and that's probably why she didn't pick her, and that's why she went to Tiffy, right? Because that was part of the reason why when she was champion, she was like, you still haven't learned your lesson, you still haven't grown up, and you know, instead of letting me choose you, you have to come out here and make a spectacle. And with that same mentality and that same thought process, I agree with her, because that's really childish. I think it would be really stupid if she inserts herself into this match this way.
I think what they'll probably do is not let her insert herself in this way, but I think this is the beginning of her being a nuisance until she does get put into the match and just doing different things that she can do to get in, which I agree with you, kind of stupid, but in everything playing the way it is and Mania happening, you know, you give them this, you know, she lost the belt. Yeah, that was probably the thing. The thing was like, listen, we're going to take the belt off you. You know, we put it back on you at Mania or whatever. That's a different story, but we'll take the belt, but you're going to be involved. Like, you're going to be involved. So I agree with you. Not a big fan of it, but once again, I call that one too. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. But I think it's the beginning of if they give her that option, that means just then anyone, whenever a contract is, can walk up and put their name over at the end, and we'll call it a day. So that's why I'm thinking the beginning of her just being a nuisance until time for her to, or for them to be like, all right. And I don't think, and it may not even be as simple as Pierce doing it. It could be as simple as her annoying Bianca and Io so much that they're like, yes, put her in the match. Let's go. Which at which point now, that's your own superstar's fault.
Yeah. So I guess, but I don't like that. The most she deserves at this point is like special guest referee, if anything, just to like screw
enforcer or something like that. But we'll see. Right. Maybe that's what he does. Maybe that's where this leads. Maybe he says you want to be in the match, you're in the match as a ref.
Yeah, there you go. Because other than that, Bianca put out a post, whether you know it was real or not. I loved it, and she was like, "Oh, so you don't got to win Royal Rumble anymore to go to WrestleMania? You don't got to win Elimination Chamber to go to WrestleMania? That's cool, but I'm a hater."
That's what I'm saying. So maybe that's why they. This is maybe like the Cody Crybabies thing. That's why maybe this it may not be as cut and dry for you as her putting her name on there solidifies it. But you know, it could be the nuisance. Yeah. Real quick before we sign off, I do want to thank all of the listeners for coming in powerful and checking out our last episode that we dropped, which was an episode with the interview with CJ and Nikki, two of the Trios Championship team in
New York Wrestling Connection.
That's right. So shout out to them again. Thank you guys really much for your time. We really appreciate that. Thank you for everyone going out and listening to that episode. Thanks for all of our listeners who wholeheartedly, once again, sincerely, from the bottom of our hearts, you guys. Without you, I mean, this would not be even a thought in our minds, and we do it because it's fun for us, but we're glad to see that the numbers come in and people are listening. So once again, pass it along. Please, anyone you know, we're trying to get some traction. We're trying to do some stuff moving forward. I've seen the Instagram has gotten more followers and stuff like that. That's always awesome. It's great to hear. So please, guys, thanks again. And moving forward, let's keep doing that. And I know off topic real fast, off the wrestling topic. Vamos Ecuador, baby. Big win the other day.
That's right.
Rumba para el Mundial. Rumba.
I believe we're in second place on the table for
That's right. Second place on the table.
So pretty solid. And also to touch back on what Ariel said, yeah, we want to thank all our listeners. We keep growing and growing. And as he mentioned, our Instagram following has increased. And now over the weekend, we have successfully opened up the YouTube page. So now you could go onto the YouTube, search Primos for Life.
Hey.
Yeah, I know. You'll be able to catch all our episodes, audio version for now. I have learned that any videos have to be separately. So over the next weekend, I will start.
You don't want to
uploading
see our
those.
ugly mugs anyway.
Right. And just what I was also going to say, it was just a really spectacular week for wrestling. All promotions, all products. It's been really fun. Super excited leading to WrestleMania and then other events as well. Maybe we'll even start talking about LFG because that show has just really gotten to me as well. So maybe we can start talking about
Okay.
that.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. That's the one on A&E, right? That's the one that's like before Biography or Rivals or whatever it is.
Yeah. But overall, thank you again, everyone. This is really fun for us, and we're excited to continue to grow. And please reach out to us on Instagram, leave comments on YouTube.
Anywhere, anywhere you can, text us, email, and once again, sorry to cut you off, Eddie, but if there's anyone out there who wants to converse about a particular item, reach out. I mean, it's Eddie and I, and we are not. We would love to converse with anybody besides each other about wrestling. So if anybody wants to, come on, please, just reach out. Let us know.
For real. And actually, it's funny that you say that. We did have somebody reach out this week. They're interested in talking about the Triple H era, which I feel like would be a really good topic.
So anything that's happened since pretty much since the Netflix. Well,
no, he took over maybe before that. So
yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, we'll piece it together and we'll go from there. I dig it. But great, thank you for reaching out. And once again, all you have to do is reach out. We're already gonna format an episode for it. So anybody else who wants to do that, please feel free. Thank you guys once again for listening. We really appreciate it. Love all you guys. Thank you wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. Mucho amor. And now, Primo, now you know what to do.
I do. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you, and we will see you when we see you.
We will see you